I really appreciate you putting me up, Cleveland.
Our house is your house, Peter. I'd sit here and chat with you, but I need to get back upstairs to Loretta because it's our anniversary and the getting's good. Ow, 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 ow. When's it gonna be my turn? Ow, 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 ow.
If your friends are nerdy and you are nerdy too, I want to talk to you. Friends Talking Nerdy.
And welcome everybody to the 1-year anniversary show for Friends Talking Nerdy. This is Tim Jousman. Along with me we got
Sterling Wilson.
This is Ray.
And you got Noel out east in New York City.
Yeah, so we are here to celebrate our anniversary, and we are going to do that in style. We are going to do that with lots of alcohol and another legal substance that is prevalent here in Portland, a little bit of weed.
The good kush.
There you go. It sounded dirty anyway.
What? But it's...
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I figured what we would do today, kick back, have a little fun, talk about some behind-the-scenes stories of the show this past year, and, you know, just see where the mood takes us.
Yeah.
Anybody disagree? Anybody want to talk about anything else here?
I always enjoy a good year-end review. Yeah. Good times.
Sounds good.
Ray's like, I got my fucking game to play. Hurry this shit up.
I'm very far in The Witcher 3. I feel like I'm about to beat it, but...
Level 30, I don't know about that.
I can dream.
Like 50.
I'm like 50, halfway through the storyline.
A year and a half from now.
Yeah. You're going to get there and it's like, oh, I see you're level 30.
Half the
you
game.
need to be level 52 to beat me.
You call yourself a player. So... Let's start. We want to get right back to their video games. So, a year ago, we had an idea.
We did have an idea. It was a harebrained scheme.
Yeah.
How did it come about?
I don't know.
We were, I have to word it correctly, you know, we were finishing up our two-man show, and then we, at the strip club, because we can't say where we were.
Okay, gotcha.
Anyway.
I was like, what?
Did you hit the stuff?
I don't get what's happening here.
It's like, wait a minute,
I think
show?
Tim was trying to take advantage of me. I have no idea.
You're a little, anyway.
But a two-man show at a strip club. Let's continue.
We had Chris Farley, Patrick Swayze.
Crazy Swayze.
But no, we were talking, and I thought, hey, why not do a show? And the initial idea for the name of the show was going to be the Twin Towers. You know, and
that was a terrible name.
Yeah,
who came up with that name?
I did.
It's a terrible name.
Yeah, my
poor taste.
Yeah, my idea was more along the lines of, and you'll remember this tag team, Noel, the Big Boss Man and Akeem the African Dream, the World Wrestling Federation tag team champions in the 80s. You know, but then we thought, you know, there's other Twin Towers that people may confuse it with. We don't want to cause any sort of problems right off the bat. No. So, yeah, we had a few other people, some good, some bad, that were involved in the process, and the name we finally settled on was Friends Talking Nerdy.
I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it too. Kind of a double entendre type of deal. Plus, we had Christopher Lazarek, his stage name, create that wonderful theme song.
It was the best theme song. It was so good.
It was, yeah. I mean,
it's catchy. It's a really catchy theme song.
When I heard that, I for sure knew we were gonna actually be doing this for more than 2 episodes.
Yeah, we did it for more than 4.
This costume is wild.
Yeah, what costume?
Akeem the African. I was like, wait a minute, I have to see what this wrestling costume
African
looks
dream.
like.
Yeah.
And what the fuck is this?
They were making fun of Dusty Rhodes. Dusty Rhodes, his nickname used to be the American Dream, and need to talk like this, baby, and just do all. So it was a goof on him, but it was just stupid in all the right ways. Do you agree, Noel?
It was. I don't know, man. I was. It was just the fact that he wore a kente cloth, and it was like that. I was like, okay, WWF at the time. Where are you guys going now with this?
Yeah, we have like lighting in the background, and then it like dimmed all of a sudden. I don't know. I think it was a cloud or something weird.
Yeah. Sterling's talking to one of the people watching our show right now.
Yeah. So we have a live feed going on, Noel, and then on top of the live feed, are you in the live feed?
Yeah.
There's no. Hey, Noel. Hi. Let's raise hand.
But
that's super funny.
Yeah, the WWF has had, like, Saba Simba. That was pretty fucking bad.
Rikishi?
No, Rikishi was fun.
Okay.
Rikishi was fun. I mean, Rikishi was more of a hip-hop type of person, I guess.
Yeah. Dude, I just heard Grandmaster Sexay died.
Hung himself in jail.
Wow, yeah.
And all that he was in there for, he was in solitary confinement because he had some level of notoriety being a wrestler, and it was evading the police after they attempted to pull him over for a DUI, which if he had stayed in jail, he may have done a couple of years if he, did not have any priors, but he could have been out. But he had a long history of substance abuse as well, so his view of everything was pretty skewed. I mean, me, the idea of being alone in a room for a bit, not that big a deal, but still, I'm not that socially good.
On a lighter note, we were talking about the creation of Friends Talking Nerdy, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. We brought in Ray, we brought in Moira, and then Noel. They were friends, correct?
Yes.
How did you guys meet, Noel?
Well, we met at the fruit stand.
Okay.
And we became good friends. We hung out. She actually transferred from another place, also within the fruit stand, but she came through. And we've been good friends, hanging out, same, really what connected us was, like, we're about the same age.
Gotcha.
Really old. Like, same movies. What was that?
Fuck you.
Well, hey, I get better as I get older. Don't hate.
Gotcha.
So that's how we kind of met up, because we were both geeking out about movies, especially 80s films and cartoons. Like, she's a big fan of Preacher. I'm a fan of Preacher. So it's always kind of nice when you meet fellow nerds and geeks, and you can really have a good conversation about it, because both of you, we're both very passionate about it. And then how I came on the show was, she said you should, I heard the show and I was like, hey, I like to, that's kind of cool. And she said I should give you a holler, Tim. And then we gave a holler, and then you looked me up, and I was like, oh boy, this guy got a pass. And here we go.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, admittedly, when she said it, I was like, I'll do it, but I'll do it to make her happy. And then I saw your IMDb page, and I was like, oh my God, he's got to be on the show. And then the first two shows we ended up doing, where we talked about your history working in sound in Hollywood, as well as talking about 80s movies. I mean, I think both shows went over the 2.5 hour mark, so we definitely had a lot to talk about.
Dang.
Yeah, definitely. And I was telling her, what's good about, I think, our podcast is that's what's fun, man. We just kind of really go off on these nerdy riffs. And what's fun about that is nothing wrong with being passionate about something culturally that made us, that kind of influenced us. We talk about wrestling. We got into wrestling and talk about that, and Star Trek and some other things we got coming up. That's a relief, man. That's really kind of nice. And especially in the age we're in right now, and social media wise, it's always good to find that little niche, where you have a group of people you can talk to about something that's actually positive and fun, entertaining. Because everyone anyone we know, we talk about a certain subject, whether it's sports or, it's just media, film, games, and the things like and not like. It's like, oh yeah, I remember just being that young little kid playing those games, or more. I wasn't much of a gamer when I was a kid, but getting up early in the morning, eating that bowl of cereal, and watching Saturday morning cartoons, which was a pleasure. Getting up, sitting in front of television, and just being left alone and just watching cartoons like that all the time. I'll never forget that. That always sticks in my head.
Oh, yeah, waking up, watching Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck every day. My God, that was a good time to watch cartoons.
Yeah, even when the Smurfs came out, that was cool. I remember, it's funny, you know. Exactly, that. There's another, what was it? Oh, remember Pole Position? I'm really dating myself. 80s cartoons like that. Or even,
that was based off a video game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel super, youthful right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm just I have no idea what
get my canes for the old men.
Yeah, but the Smurfs theme song, though, has so many double entendres, it's not even funny. It's really a pretty dirty song if you think about it.
Really?
Yeah. Smurf the whole day long, you know?
I think I listened to the non-English version of the Smurf intro.
You watched the original Danish version? Oh, I know my ex-wife had this whole big deal about stating the Smurfs was a way to invite people to Satanism or something like that. The Smurfs were little demons, and I'm nodding my head and thinking, when's as soon as I can get a divorce?
Oh, wow. Okay. So, what was everybody's favorite episode?
What? Me? Oh, I'm going first?
Yeah, right. That's what you have to say. You've been pretty darn quiet. Gazing at the PS4 longingly. Let's see what you have to say.
I'd say that my favorite episode would have to be the BDSM episode. It was really, really fun to record.
With D Severe.
And it got super dark right when you said that too.
Yeah.
Turn down the lights.
No, I feel like it was a really important episode to have because, I feel like people don't really know much about BDSM outside of the horrible 50 Shades of Grey bullshit that's out there.
Yeah.
So it was really good to talk about it and talk to somebody who's making a difference inside that community to make sure it's safe and fun for everybody to participate in.
Yeah, and that for me is gonna have to be my favorite episode too. I was saving that particular topic for someone else potentially to join along, and I'll leave it at that. But found a perfect co-host. I loved the feel of the episode more than anything. I love the fact that we had a good time. We had a lot of laughs, but we treated the content in her with respect.
Yeah.
Which I think, in this world today, people don't want to talk about that type of stuff, which overall is just not healthy at all. Her movies, I'm not a fan. I did some research when I studied it, but I'm not into that stuff. But I still thought it was... I still thought it was important to have that conversation. What a bad mouth me. All right, Noel, your favorite episode?
Oh wow! That was that was a really good one. I think Ray, you're right. It's when it comes to conversations about sexuality, as you get older, it's you know what? Let's just have a more of an open understanding. So that one may be one of my favorite episodes. I think too. It's one of those. It's up there, man. It really is. It's a fun one. I may have to listen to that one again. That's a fun episode.
And that too. We were able to get nerdy and have fun and talk about the passion of that particular topic. And I think that's what I've always wanted for this show is to get a group of people together and whatever we are talking about, just let the microphone record it all. Because even if it's not a subject that I may particularly like, I'm still going to be interested in what people have to say. So, I was definitely proud of that one. But what about you, sir? The ones I was on.
Oh, man. We've had some really good episodes. I just was very upset that I didn't know about the time travel episode. I really wanted to talk about time travel.
I didn't know about that episode.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
That was before we got it worked out. I wasn't communicating enough.
My favorite one was definitely the anime episode, for sure.
We didn't do an anime episode.
No,
we did a
haven't
90s
done that one
cartoon.
yet. Yeah.
90s cartoons. We talked a lot about anime on that.
We touched on anime, but it wasn't a full-on anime episode.
Gotcha.
Not what I have planned for the anime episode, but like we did nerd out about video games.
I like that.
Video games, cartoons.
90s cartoons. 90s cartoons was the greatest.
Oh, and I got my son to call you a poopy head on that episode.
No comment.
Didn't he like bitch slap you and like take the title from you?
Yeah.
Bitch.
Stealing my. It was not an officially sanctioned match, so I'm still the champion.
Gotcha.
He can have that title all he wants.
The movie.
I just like the amount of energy that everybody brings in when it's a topic that they're like passionate about. Like with the 90s episode, I feel like we had really good conversations in that, and like reminiscing about the olden days of the 90s.
Yeah, for real.
Olden days.
You mean 20 years ago? That was
a really long time ago.
Yeah.
I was an adult there.
Did you see they're redoing Ninja Turtles again?
Yeah, and I also see that they're redoing Invader Zim again.
Yeah.
I'm
And
really
Rocco's
excited.
Modern Life.
And Rocco,
I'm
yes.
so excited.
There's so
Oh my
many.
god.
Yeah. Everything's a remake,
I mean,
including Alf. Alf's getting a remake.
Yeah, that I read about.
Is he going to be in prison from the people who like kidnapped him at the end of the series?
No.
He got arrested by the FBI, right?
Yeah, but then they had this wonderful, and I say that loosely, TV movie that had Martin Sheen in it, and I felt so bad that Martin Sheen, one hell of a great actor who was in one of the greatest movies ever made, Apocalypse Now, had to be in an Alf TV movie. I mean, luckily he rebounded and got the West Wing afterwards, but that was, apart from having your son be Charlie Sheen.
The movie to West Wing. Just great transition. I think he did other stuff in between.
Yeah, maybe he did community theater in Duluth, Minnesota. I don't know. But, yeah, they're remaking that. But anyway, do you remember that first day we recorded? We recorded 2 whole episodes.
I do. I don't remember the episodes, but I remember recording them in my hot dungeon of a basement or attic of an apartment. That place was so hot.
Oh my goodness.
We were going through one of the most terrible heat waves ever, and then on top of that, there was a fire. There was a fire going on. Did you not remember that? Like soot and ash was coming from the...
I wasn't there for the first 2 episodes.
No, you were actually. The same day we recorded the first episode, we recorded your episode as well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But
You mean I wasn't the first?
No, I do remember the fire though, because that was like close to where I was living at the time.
Oh, wow.
It was really fucked up.
Damn.
I woke up every single day and there was freaking ash on my car.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like, it was a sweltering heat, and I didn't have like anything like air conditioning wise, and like I didn't want to open the windows because ash would just come through and like kill everything. So I would literally fill my bathtub up with cold water and just sit in it.
I don't need that image.
It was terrible.
All scrunched up in a small person's bathtub. I mean, that's
reasonable size. It's like.
Do you guys have any pictures of that day?
The bathtub? No.
Wait, didn't we take one picture?
One selfie, yeah.
Oh my god. That was when I was growing out my hair and I looked like a moron. You know what you don't do? You don't grow your hair out in a heat wave.
No.
Oh my god.
This'll be good for you.
Oh god.
The joys of going bald.
Terrible.
But overall, I think, right from the start we had a pretty good groove going on, which, I think the first episode, until I mentioned John Wick 2, it was a little iffy, but then after that, everything was nice and smooth, nice back and forth.
Nice.
The only issue with that first recording with Maura was New York being New York.
Oh, yeah. Ambulances and police cars and get out of my way!
Yep.
That was funny. That was really funny.
What do you remember of the first episode, Ray? Your first episode.
I think our first episode we didn't play.
No, we did. We're going to talk about that last episode. No.
Wait, the first episode that I recorded with you guys, what do I remember?
Yeah.
Nothing. I have a really, really terrible memory. If I were to listen to the episode again,
you'd still have a terrible memory.
I'd be like, oh, that was said.
Who's that person that sounds like me?
But I do remember sitting in the apartment.
Yeah.
On the floor.
The first episode was... The first couple were just talking. I mean...
origin stories.
Yeah.
That was great.
That was before I had the, what is your nerd origin story instead of rambling on for 40 minutes. But, yeah, we talked about you growing up in Ohio and all that fun stuff.
I grew up in Boston.
Sorry.
And Ohio, but, more
you
so
don't
Boston.
sound like you're from either of those places.
Because I moved around a lot.
Because I'm wicked smart.
Yeah.
When I moved I moved outside of Illinois, and when I first got there, my accent was very, very apparent that I was from Boston.
Gotcha.
And all the kids all the kids made fun of me, so
yeah.
I basically had to adapt.
With violence.
I don't know about violence.
No, I was a kid.
Yeah. I didn't start getting violent until I was 6th grade. I was just so much bigger than everybody at that point.
Yeah. Well, the first couple episodes anyway were pretty straightforward. I mean, I again love the instant connection that we all had. We had a nice groove. We had. We're getting there. The next thing we're going to talk about is our infamous Lost episode.
That episode was so fucking painful.
It was.
Yeah, I heard stories about that. I heard that story that show will never be played.
What have you heard?
Maura had said to me, you don't know those episode that we didn't do, and I was like, really? She goes, you don't know about it. I was like, really? He's like, so yeah. I said, okay, I will not ask that question again. So I just kind of, it's kind of like, he should not be named. We're not going to really say that name's episode. I was like, okay, I'm just, if they need me, just hit me up. I have no idea what's going on. So,
yeah.
but that's all I know. I mean, I have not heard any detail about it. All it was an episode that was this was really, it got really, from what I heard, it got really uncomfortable, but that's all I've heard.
Very uncomfortable.
Really uncomfortable.
Yeah. There was a certain person that was there. I want to word this right.
She was.
Wait, listen, Al. My suggestion to you is maybe if you want to go into detail about it, just say if the episode had happened that you thought it was going one way and it didn't, and then let's just end it at that. Let's I'm starting out to you, Tim. Let's just keep it that way. You never know.
Yeah.
You kind of know.
Okay.
Kind of know it's not going. Yeah.
That's what I gotta say.
Yeah.
The episode. Usually we get geeking out about something. Something got said, and all of a sudden, kind of like The Simpsons. Insert blank here.
Yeah. The Atlanta Falcons.
So we're just gonna say, you know what? Don't worry about it, folks. Use your imagination.
Yeah.
I would say it was a really good learning opportunity, though.
Yeah.
It's definitely. Well, no, it's definitely. It was one of those situations where you're just like, okay, we've tried this in which it was 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 people, and that just didn't work.
It did not.
So that's why we have the format of very few people as possible, because once you start getting into big groups, voices get lost and it becomes a shit show. Yeah.
And then you have people that want to take it over and have it be about them, So
but for the show, Tim, it's your show, so you're the moderator, so you set the tone. So you're always the moderator for the show, because then it goes that. Now for us, we only done it via Skype and other apparatuses. But if we were all in the same room together, I think the show would be a lot different and more flow of it. But the fact that we're distant, East Coast with myself and more, you guys on the West Coast, it kind of has that separation. But it's always that, it's the moment of waiting for it to really kind of move forward and happen that way.
Totally.
Well, I will correct you, though. It's not my show. It's our show. I may have initiated the initial idea for it, but, we were talking about on the Steve Ditko episode that, similar to a comic book, you have art, you have an artist, you have a writer putting their words together, you have the inker, you have the letterer putting all that work together. The final product is created by everybody that's involved. So I think it's our show.
Teamwork. Yeah. Boobs. I'm about those boobs.
Yeah. So yeah,
not those boobs.
But less about.
What was the the first? I want to say like streamlined topic, like a topic where you just talked about.
That was the lost episode.
No, the lost episode.
Other than the lost episode.
No, the lost episode. I really want to say that line, but I've had people talk to me about it.
Yeah.
Other than the lost episode. What was
because I came up with a perfect line. Anyway, the first one was after when I recorded with Mora, where we talked about action movies, and I think that's the one that you listened to, Noel, that got you on board.
Yeah. Because I was like, oh, wait a minute, you guys, I grew up watching these cheesy movies. As a matter of fact, about in July 4th, I went to catch Invasion USA on the big screen. It was a 35mm print, and they had they had a Rambo First Blood Part 2, original trailers. So they had a Rambo First Blood Part 2 trailer, and then they had Ruskies with this like Russian sailor or submariner gets lost and gets found off the coast of Florida, and these three kids like bring him in and teach him about 80s America. And I mean, just like all the stuff you see on HBO in the 80s. I mean, really, really.
What was that movie? There was, it was a pilot, and they had found him in like a cryogenesis chamber.
Forever Young.
Forever Young.
Mel Gibson.
Yeah, Mel Gibson. Oh my God, that movie was crazy. That was when like Mel Gibson was like well liked.
And less of an anti-Semite.
or no, let's phrase it. The anti-Semite became well known. That's what happened.
Yeah.
Came out.
Yeah.
But true.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah. That's the great thing about these types of movies and whatnot. But what else? I mean, we the first main topic that we did was action. Then we had the Noel episode, and then we got to the first time we ever talked about wrestling.
Oh man, that was fun.
Ray's checking out right now.
Ray's fun with the games. That's cool. She'll chime in when she needs to.
Me and Tim, we got to go to a wrestling match. That was a lot of fun. And then we had talked about our history of wrestling before we had seen the show that was here in Portland. But oh man, I grew up in like the 90s of like wrestling. So you had like The Rock making a big name for himself. Hunter Hearst Helmsley became Triple H. And like you had D-Generation.
I actually know these people.
Yeah. No, they were like, yes,
I had a huge
bad word.
I had a huge crush on Chris Jericho.
Oh man, Chris Jericho is so cool.
Halls of Jericho.
The Halls of Jericho.
You just made the list.
Oh man, that was the best. I was a huge Steve Austin fan, even though he had like the knee braces. Because like no one could chug a beer like Steve Austin, because he'd just be like, bam!
No, the first time I saw Stone Cold Steve Austin doing what he did, because I remember in WCW Stunning Steve, I was turning the channel, I hadn't watched wrestling in years, turned it to the USA Network, immediately glass shattering and Stone Cold coming out in the beer truck.
Yeah.
And my God, and that was the first time I saw The Rock, which, I mean, The Rock on the microphone, even then, amazing.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon as a bad guy, which was amazing as well. But, yeah, I haven't stopped watching apart from little spurts here and there. I mean,
No chance in hell.
No chance in hell. Yeah, loved it. Absolutely loved it.
But that was definitely fun. We've talked about other things on the show, like 80s television shows. That was a learning experience for me, because what I thought was interesting, what I wanted to try in that show that I thought would be interesting was when Moore and I mentioned a TV show, I would play the theme song. What I didn't realize is how long that would make the episode.
Oh, yeah. You got like 5 minute, like, that's if it's short. You have like a 5 minute intro.
Yeah.
That's, it's so bad. Yeah. And like, you had like old sitcoms that like had story theme songs, you know, so it's like two people living together, there's things, other things, and then it's like, yeah, that turns into like a 10-minute intro.
And also, he's a ninja.
My black son. I love that episode of Family Guy. That is so funny.
That show far too much. But that was definitely a learning episode. Then we did the movie episode. We got to talk to Nick Marie. Oh, fucking hell.
Hello, fire truck.
To celebrate the anniversary.
Is there fire actually going on right now, Portland?
There better be.
I mean...
Are you guys having the wildfires like in California?
No, that's
Are they pulling in here?
They're like just over there.
Oh, wow.
Maybe more.
So we're just having a podcast and the house is truly on
I'm a fire truck.
Maybe Maura did a good thing on missing this episode.
Yeah, Nick Moreno.
Nick Marino.
Oh,
yeah.
So good. Such a good show.
Yeah, did you hear that episode, Noel?
I think he's grabbing
some more weed.
Did you read any of his books, Ray?
Who?
Nick Moreno?
No.
He had a book that he was releasing called Cougar and Cub, and it was like if Batman and Robin
had sex,
yeah, essentially. Because like the original premises, it was two guys. And then he was like, oh, you know, a cougar and a cub. I'll make it like that theme. And it was like an older woman who was like the Batman of the two. And then
cougar.
Yeah. And then this little younger kid who I think was he 18?
Of legal age, maybe, but I mean, because nobody was like nice.
Yeah. And then
this is a book?
Comic book, yeah. It was.
I thought you were describing a porno.
No.
I was so confused.
Like clothes. But yeah,
This sounds like a porno.
He also had another series called Holy Fuck and Holy Fucked,
which was amazing. Satan and Jesus were gay lovers and had a baby and had to protect their baby against Hercules.
Really good.
Trust me.
Okay.
It is
so good.
It is out there, but the way it's crafted, the art is, I would describe it almost like a Ren and Stimpy type of art in terms of being extremely exaggerated and fully fucked. The opening of the first issue had Jesus in the shower, and that's the type of Lord and Savior that some people want in this world. Just down to the knees.
But really down-to-earth guy, really cool. We were talking about like origin stories for him and how he met his wife during like the production of one of the books. Really cool. Really, really cool dude.
Yep.
Cool.
Good time.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah, then there we ended up talking about our holiday special. That was a fun one.
Yeah, that was a pretty, we got, when am I not drinking and smoking, talking about the holiday episodes of that one.
So, yeah, we had more involved in that. It's been a while since I've listened to it, but that gave me an excuse to throw in some Mr. Hanky. Can't go wrong there. We talked about comics, and we recorded that the same day we did Nick, but we released that later. Then we had the cartoon episode, and then we had our very first special guest in terms of somebody I know, in terms of Jason Grossberg. Nice. We talked about Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Nice. That was fun. We ended up going to Jason's house and talking about it. Met his boyfriend and everything, and that was cool. Learned that Jason was a Jehovah's Witness growing up. Oh, wow. Which explained a lot. And the reason I say that...
I want to be like what? I don't know.
No. In terms of how he's able to... Because he's not... For people that know him, he's not the most extroverted person in the world.
Gotcha.
But when he's with a customer, you wouldn't know that.
Yes.
At the strip club.
Gotcha.
And and he just has a way to be able to just talk to somebody in ways that I can't. I'm an awkward bastard.
He's personable. He's very personable.
He definitely is.
Yes.
He definitely is.
One of the nicest people in the world.
Exactly. I was glad he was on the show. And then, from there, our conversation with Dee, of course. And then someone else who came on the show, Meredith. We talked about Star Trek.
I missed that episode, too.
That was kind of cool. It's been a moment. I hadn't really geeked out on Star Trek, and I had just watched the last Star Trek movie before we had that podcast. So yeah, it's
the last movie, be careful with that stuff or the new Star Trek.
Yeah, which I have not seen yet. I'm sorry.
Gotcha.
It's getting to a point now where there's so much stuff on. It's like, do I really want to watch this? I mean, there's so much stuff on. I've never seen it so oversaturated in material on television and Hulu. It's like I gotta be selective. There's only certain things I can really watch. I mean, there's so much. It blows my mind sometimes, man, how much shit there's on to check out.
Wait, did you guys see Star Trek Discovery?
No.
I have been having a very hard time getting a hold of it legally. Because I don't want to pay for a program that I'm not going to use.
Well, you get a month free.
I'll show you something later.
Cool.
I think you get a month free, and the entire first season is out now. The new season looks okay. I mean, they're bringing in the Enterprise with Pike and Spock will be there.
Yes.
But then they have to have the commercial with a Lenny Kravitz song, which...
Who doesn't like Lenny Kravitz?
When you think of Star Trek, you don't think of Lenny Kravitz.
I think of Lenny Kravitz more often than not. I like Lenny Kravitz. He's a cool dude. I'm just saying.
Alrighty.
He's dreamy.
Well, I was gonna say.
You know what you don't think about when you think of Star Trek is fucking the Beastie Boys.
You see why you hating on JJ and that Star Trek reboot? That was a good film, man.
I love the Beastie Boys, but I'm just like, I don't know about surfing along fucking shockwaves of the Beastie Boys.
And I love the Beastie Boys too. Sabotage is a good song, but it's been so overplayed.
Yeah.
They could have used anything else, and I would have been happy.
I would have been all about Brass Monkey. That would have been funny. They're like, what's a brass monkey? Well,
not from that first album.
You put your left hand down.
What You Want would have been nice.
And your right leg up.
And ladies, he's single, so... But from there, we had our WWE talk where Noel and Sterling were on the show at the same time for the first time in a long time ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a bit of an ass this past year, and unintentionally, but unintentionally keeping Ray off for 6 months, even though we're roommates. Like, what the fuck, Tim, son of a bitch.
Tim doesn't like me. Tim just puts up with me because I pay rent.
Oh wow! Let it be known. Ray's like, that's how this is about me. Hey. Right on.
No, I mean, Ray's had to put up with a lot. Ray's always had to hear a lot. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Tim's face got really red.
Look at that.
Grade A, man. Grade A.
That was a red face.
Yeah.
That was like a Killer Tomatoes red.
I'm trying to be a nice guy here, but I got anyway. We had our 420 celebration, which, apart from the audio, which unfortunately did not work out as well as I liked because the microphone was right next to the exhaust fan on the computer. I think we had a very good time, but I should have been rolling this episode like 15 minutes beforehand because Noel had a great story about sometimes he was a judge for weed.
Told you.
So are you telling me? So are you basically saying you want me to tell the story again, Tim? That's what we're
Let's do it.
Okay, very well.
I'm gonna get a drink
for
of
Sterling,
water while we're
since I can
waiting.
go on, I will shorten it down and condense the story. So, about a couple years ago, my father passed, and I was in a funk. And one of my good friends works for High Times magazine, and he was like, "Yeah, do you want to, why don't you come out and judge?" Okay, so I haven't taken vacation in a long time. It was in Seattle. Flew out to Seattle, rented a car, went to a special location, and I picked up these samples. Now, it's an honor to judge for High Times because you basically are being asked to smoke a lot of weed. A lot of good weed, mind you.
Do you get paid to do that?
You get paid for weed.
No, I did not get that. Tim, you are correct, sir. Yes, I did not get paid for it. It was truly a vacation. I had to pay for my flight. I had to pay for my lodging. But hey, I've never been to Seattle before. And I was going through stuff, so I needed to leave the East Coast and head out west. So I land in Seattle. I go to a location, and I'm given like a brown paper bag, and in that brown paper bag are about like 12 containers, some like medical, some like prescription containers, some baggies, and literally I got these samples. And I had to smoke these samples. These samples for the weed heads out there, these were sativa samples. I didn't know the name. It said sativa 1, 2, 3, blah, 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 blah. So I basically had this list, and I, as a High Times judge, they gave me these categories. And I had to judge the weed on these categories. Once I partake in my samples, what do you usually do when you get high? You usual stuff. So, took pictures, read, write, caught up on some reading, stuff like that. I figured in time when I'm just not connected, working, let me go enhance the mind and the body. So that's what I really did. And at that time, I was in mourning. That's still in mourning for that. So it's just good to get out, just to travel and get away and check out the city. Seattle's a really cool city. I hope to, explore a little more next time I go back there, but it was in the middle. I stayed downtown, and it was interesting to see, so a lot of homeless folks in Seattle. So, as you go every travel city and anywhere you travel, that's going to be more common. But just for being that close to downtown, not many people stay downtown. But that's where my hotel was. Walking around and seeing that was a little eye-opening. And the hotel I stayed in, I wanted to blaze up in the hotel, but, I didn't want to be respectful. But I'm in my hotel room. I look across the way from me, and I see some girl in the back of me blazing up. I said, oh, goddamn. So, enough of that. So, I go through my samples, put my picks in. The actual cup was happened in Everett, which is about an hour north of Seattle. So, this was the first time also I saw people dabbing. So the weed heads know what dabbing is. For the non-weed heads, dabbing basically is a concentrated amount of weed that's put into like a bong device, or it's called a rail, which is the metal device that gets heated up hot. You basically tap the concentrate on that as you inhale, and then you cap it to kind of fill up the carb, and you hit it. So whereas if you smoke regular weed, you're getting 15, 20, maybe 24%, 30 nowadays of concentrated THC. Whereas you do a dab with concentrate, you're talking about 90 and higher. Really intense. So it's kind of the first time you got high. And I was telling the crew here that the first time I did the dab hit, which was in New York before I had a chance to even go out to Seattle, I literally had I took a hit, and just like in the movie Ratatouille, when Ego's eating that food and flashes back to when he was a kid, I literally flashed back to my day. I got so high, I literally went back in time that day. That's how high I got.
That's when you know it's good.
I was like, wow, I got it.
We're going to do something about your kids.
Exactly.
We're going to get high, Morty.
High. I mean, I was like, wow, that was fast. That was fascinating. So here I am out in Washington, hanging out with some fellow judges, and in that, so where it was there is that there were these medical places. So there were these medical areas. So these are areas where people can go and legitimately smoke weed or dab. But most of the time, people out there's dabbing, and you're seeing these dab rigs. So it kind of reminded me of like what it was growing up in New York City in the 80s and 90s with the crack epidemic, and seeing people huddled in corners with these blow torches, getting these pipes, getting high off of crack. You're seeing the kind of same effect when folks are doing these dab rigs. Now, look, as I talk to people about it, these were used for those who are medical, who need weed medically. It makes sense. It's a more intense way of getting it. But when you're smoking that much weed, that concentration in a rig like that, your body's producing so many endorphins, it takes more of that to get high. Now, I enjoy smoking weed, and that stuff is meant to be used in moderation. So, yes, I like rolling up a joint or, like blazing up with a bubbler. But if I do concentrate, you only need to do it once in a blue moon. You do it all the time, you ruin that sensation. And I think with the legalization of weed happening right now, those of us heads, old school, I mean, to be honest with you, a lot of people who are still smoking weed are the older folks. I say older and I'm 43, but a lot of us who kind of, are doing that are kind of rolling. The younger ones are either using the pens, concentrates, or edibles. And listen, nothing's wrong with that. I think the pens are awesome. I have a couple that I use. I think they're really good stuff. But I equate it to drinking. And, a lot of times, nothing's wrong with having a beer once in a blue moon, drinking some beer. Yeah. But, or having a shot of whiskey. Yeah. But when you're kind of drinking heavy whiskey all the time, hey, weed or not, for you as an adult, you got to be honest with yourself in doing that stuff. And, I'm glad that it's coming legal in more states, and hopefully in New York it's medical, and Jersey, hopefully it's going to wait with legalization. If when it's happening in New York, I think legalization may happen maybe next year. I mean, Cuomo out here in New York, and Cynthia Nixon, who's trying to run for governor, are pushing on legalization. So it's you got Massachusetts has illegal, Vermont, New Hampshire has illegal, DC has illegal. So it's happening.
It's legal,
and nowadays, you gotta blaze up, man. I'd rather blaze than drink any day.
Yeah. Well, I always like to take a good gummy edible and just, sit and chill and then play games for a little bit.
You pussy. Come on, now.
What? No.
See, I can't do edibles because edibles are really, really strong. Not here in Portland, but other places.
Yeah.
Really
But, I mean, when I started, I had edibles. My friend would literally just, hey, I baked this. Eat it. And I'm like, okay.
See, I enjoy baking edibles, but, actually eating them myself. That's what I did when I moved from California I lived in upstate New York for a bit. But I took
whereabouts?
Really, really boring part. I lived in Albany.
Okay, I mean, well, yeah, I guess Albany is kind of quiet.
Yeah, really, really quiet. But I didn't have a lot of time on my hands, so I had a bunch of weed, can of butter, because in Oakland you could get this container of already made weed butter. So I took it and I would just make batches and batches of cupcakes and brownies, and I would take them to my coworkers, and I would just let them have it.
Nice.
There you go. The gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
Yeah, me, I didn't really start smoking hardcore until a certain someone. I'm glad I was able to keep that afterwards without anything. But still, with edibles, though, I get your point, because with the edibles that I've had, they've been great, but you can't really judge when you're going to come down from it.
Exactly.
And that's the problem, especially when you got someone like me. There's 10 in the package.
Oh, God.
Yeah. I mean, it was great the one time I had an anxiety attack. I had to go home from work because it was pretty freaking bad. So I went and bought some edibles and then slept for 16 hours. I felt great after.
Yeah. See, I'm done with work. Okay, I'll have one. And it's like that big by that big, and it has a high concentration. And then you eat something, and then 2 hours later you feel it, and then you slowly relax. And I usually get high CBD concentration, so it's just more of more relaxed.
Me, I want to feel the earth fucking move, okay?
I mean, give me some Funyuns, and ginger ale, and ice cream, and I'll have a good ass night.
You're like a Midwestern housewife here.
No. What's wrong with ice cream? Don't you?
Nothing's wrong with ice cream. It's good stoner stuff. Usually, I get really stoned. I'll cook, man. I'll throw down.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And with that, another episode of Friends Talking Nerdies into Books. We thank you all for listening. This is Tim Jousma here. Wow. Next week is going to be our 1-year anniversary. Yeah, not much more can be said, but thank you all for your support. We do not proclaim to ever have the biggest audience in the world, but the fact that we do get people that appear to consistently listen on a regular basis, we appreciate each and every one of you, and thank you. Just thank you for taking time out of your day to listen to a bunch of people get together and goof around and have some fun. And we hope you've appreciated every single episode. Next week will be the, part 2, episode 56, the end of season 1 of Friends Talking Nerdy, as we wrap up our discussion on behind-the-scenes stories of the show. So we thank you all for listening once again. Tune in next week.
My father said, my manager said, they all said that I had a right, I could have gotten a lawyer and I could have sued you for what you did, and I didn't, and all I want is an apology. Even you asked me last time I was on your show if I was going to have a lawsuit, and I could have sued you. I could have sued you for everything you're worth. Well, and I didn't, because I'm not that kind of a guy.
Yeah. You know what?
What kind of a guy are you? You're not the kind of guy you're.
I'll just be over here. We're going to pause here for station identification and get the hoses out here.
Subscribe to Friends Talking Nerdy on iTunes, the Google Play Music Store, as well as Spotify. Remember to support Friends Talking Nerdy on Patreon.